Astrology isn't just about signs and symbols. It's a tool for navigating real life. Hello, and welcome to Astrology with Alisa. I'm your host, Alisa Dixon, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in. If there's one thing people know about astrology, it's usually their sign. When's your birthday? January 9th? Oh, you're a Capricorn. April 26th? Oh, you're a Taurus. August 4th? Ah, you're a Leo. Like most people, for most of my life, that's all I knew. What sign I was based on my birthday. I knew I was an Aries because my birthday is March 29th. And I've always had some typical Aries traits. I'm high energy, independent, action-oriented, and okay, maybe a little impatient at times. But what I didn't realize back then was that this sign that I identified with was actually my sun sign. Just one small piece of the bigger picture. I've always loved the idea of astrology, the mysticism, the magic of it. I used to read my weekly horoscopes, just for fun though. I never really believed that every Aries person in the world could have the same weekly prediction as me. That didn't stop me from reading them, of course, but I was skeptical, so I never went any deeper. Yes, I'd noticed that things get a little wild around a full moon, and I did feel like an Aries, to an extent, but it wasn't all me, so I never really fully bought in. Until about 5 years ago, a friend encouraged me to book a reading with a professional astrologer. She had actually suggested it several times, and I just hadn't been interested yet. I can't tell you exactly why I finally did it. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but within minutes, I was blown away. The astrologer described me with incredible accuracy, and she didn't talk about Aries traits at all. Instead, she said things like, I was responsible, a rule follower, cautious, serious, even as a child. She said I was an overachiever, that I took my responsibilities seriously, that I was disciplined when it came to school and work. She even asked about my relationship with my mom, saying she assumed we were extremely close. And then she asked if I had any children, because she was certain I had always wanted to be a mom. I didn't know what to say. I had never met this woman before. The only information I had given her was my date of birth, the month, the day, and the year, also the time of day and the place I was born. That's literally all she knew about me. But everything she said was true, and none of it sounded like Aries. In fact, a lot of it sounded like the opposite of Aries. Aries people are quick, energetic, competitive, impulsive. They act first and think later. They take risks. They live in the moment. But she didn't mention any of that. Instead, she had described me, who I am at my core. She even tapped into parts of my personality that I don't usually show others. And she was spot on. How could she possibly have known all of this? We had never met before. And yet somehow she knew. She knew that I always followed the rules, that I was responsible, sometimes to a fault, that I put enormous pressure on myself, that I was a perfectionist, that as a kid, I never sat at the kids' table at family gatherings. I always wanted to be with the adults. And she was right about my mom. We've always been incredibly close. She was also right about me always wanting to be a mom myself. As a child, I turned everything into imaginary babies. Dolls, rocks, blocks of wood, even one time a bag of birdseed. I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I remember picking it up and thinking, ooh, this smushes just like I think a baby would. So at this point in the reading, she definitely had my attention. I had to know, how did she know all of this? And the answer was actually pretty simple. These were all characteristics of a moon in Capricorn in the first house of my natal chart. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Wait, what now? What's a natal chart? It's basically a snapshot of the sky at the exact moment you were born. It shows where the sun, the moon, and all the planets were positioned, creating a unique energy signature just for you. All you need to know is your birth information, the date of birth, the month, the day, and the year, the time of day, if you have it, and the place you were born. No two charts are the same, which explains why those weekly horoscopes never fully fit. Your astrology isn't just about your sun sign, it's about the entire cosmic setup at your birth. Now, if you're wondering what a natal chart actually looks like, I've put a link in the show notes to my website where you can see my chart and get a breakdown of what it all means. But for now, back to my reading that day. I learned that my sun sign is Aries and my moon sign is Capricorn. And as the reading went on, I learned what each of the other planets stood for and how they impacted my unique energy. And suddenly, so much more of myself began to make sense. And I'll tell more of that story in future episodes, I promise. But for now, let's stick with the moon sign and what it means for you, especially in relation to your sun sign. Your sun sign is important. It's how you shine out in the world. And whatever your sun sign is, it's still your sign. You just also have more to the story. Because when life gets stressful, we don't act like our sun sign. We act like our moon sign. That realization alone was huge. But then the astrologer casually shared something that for me changed everything. She told me that when we're young, our moon sign is actually more dominant than our sun sign. So a child lives through their moon sign. It shapes how they experience the world, how they express their emotions, what makes them feel safe. And when parents understand their child's moon sign, it's like unlocking a secret manual, one that explains how to support them in the way that they actually need. I sat there quietly, taking it all in. But inside, I was bursting with excitement and curiosity. I just had to know what my kids' moon signs were. And I knew this was about to change everything. And spoiler alert, it did. A few weeks later, I went back for another reading, this time to learn about my kids through their natal charts. Both of their sun signs are earth signs, Taurus and Capricorn. But their moon signs? Both Sagittarius, a fire sign. I walked out of that reading with an entirely new understanding of who my kids were and what they needed. Through the lens of their Sagittarius moons, I saw them in a way I never had before. You'll hear me talk about them a lot on this podcast. But my big takeaway that day, let's just say, once I learned to work with their open, adventurous, honest, and sometimes explosive Sagittarius moons, I changed the way I approached them, and everything shifted for the better. And the rest, as they say, is history. From that day forward, I couldn't get enough astrology. Every new thing I learned sparked new questions, and I had to know more. Now, I look at charts all day long for various reasons. My own chart, my family's charts, the current chart of the day even. I like to know where the planets are in real time because that helps me interpret what kind of energy we experience on Earth. I look at these things before I have hard conversations or before big meetings at work because astrology gives me a heads up so I can work with the energy instead of against it. Astrology is a timing tool because of its patterns. Speaking of which, some of you might have noticed my original launch date for this podcast was March 29th, on my birthday. But instead, I launched today on April 2nd. I promise you I wasn't just late getting it uploaded. This was actually intentional. It's a perfect example of how I use astrology. The energy of today's chart at 10 a.m. on April 2nd, it just felt right. It was aligned with what I want to create here in this Astrology with Alisa community. And I need your help to grow this community. So before you put your phone down or whatever device you're listening on, please follow the show, leave me a review, and share this episode with friends. all that actually helps more people find the podcast. And I really want to share astrology with as many people as I can so they can understand their own unique energy signatures and work with the energy instead of against it. Astrology can actually be very useful and practical, and that's where I come in. So please help me grow this Astrology with Alisa community. One last amazing synchronicity I'll leave you with. When I went deeper into studying astrology, I was stunned to discover a famous 16th century astrologer named William Lilly. The reason for the surprise? I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. And guess what their names are? William and Lily. Will is 12 now, and Lily is almost 9. And it was only 5 years ago that I began my deep dive into astrology. I had no idea when I named them, but now I'm pretty sure the universe has been gently guiding me towards this path all along. And that's the magic of it all. So you can count on me dropping new episodes every Wednesday, covering new topics that I think you'll love. But before we go, I'd love to hear from you. There's a link in the show notes where you can send me a text message. You'll also find links to my Instagram, Facebook page, and YouTube channel. I'd love for you to send me a message. Ask me anything about astrology, and I'll answer in a future episode. And if anything you heard me say sparked your curiosity, go to my website and book a reading with me. I'd love to help you better understand your unique energy signature. Thanks so much for listening, and please don't forget to help me grow this amazing new community. Follow the show, leave a review, and share this episode with friends. I can't wait to explore the stars with you all. Thanks again, and take care. See you next time.